Welcome to the Veterans Impact Show, where our commitment is to help, hope, and healing of our veteran family and our nation. I'm Jim Blythe, a U.S. Navy veteran and a certified senior advisor. Join us as we continue the mission of leadership and commitment to our communities and our great country. Why, you never know where we're going to go or who you're going to meet. We invite you to join in, plug in, and share in what we do. This is your Veterans Impact Show.
Hey, welcome aboard. Great day. And I got to tell you, we have a tremendous program. Cedric White and my co-host, we have been working so hard to do a great program for you guys today. No, this one's going to be easy. We've got professionals all the way down the line. We're going to give you a preview for a documentary film that's going to be airing on January the 12th. Which is going to be tremendous. And we've got two great people to talk about it, plus a great lady who set this up for us. So, Cedric, tell us a little bit about what you know about this so far.
Well, the wonderful thing is that this American Arms and the movie that's going to be previewed is talking about some of the things that our military, our veterans, some of our people, they experience, right? Mm-hmm. And quite often it's a message that hasn't gotten out to enough people. And so we're excited to be here to promote this and to assist in getting the words out about the movie.
And Melissa Dabi with the Airpower Foundation Executive Director, we're so thankful for you calling us and saying, what can we do to help you guys out? And so I am very, very thankful that you did that. And Melissa, we also thank Airpower Foundation for all you do in our North Texas community. And I saw that you have your walk t-shirt on, so you're doing so much. We thank you. So next, let's introduce our two guests. Fernando Cano, okay? And he is from the Valley, but he is an amazing person. Sitting here talking to him. Tell us what you do with it, that you have done with this.
Well, I am one of the producers on the film American Sons, feature documentary. I'm also the project's production supervisor. So I get to deal with the fun stuff, like the logistics, the contracts, scheduling, the stuff that most people don't want to be messing with, you know. But it actually allows what I do helps the other producers and the director do their job better because they're not having to concentrate on all the little logistical type things. And so that's kind of what my several hats, but that's what my main hat is for this.
One of the cool things is you told me that you guys actually made the Academy of Arts and Sciences Oscar list, that you were one of the contenders.
That's correct, yes. We were very fortunate to be an Oscars contender in 2025. There was quite a bit of competition, but we were out there trying to spread the word and get it in front of voters, Oscars voters, and it really helped us get more visibility for the film. You know, we figured it was a long shot, but you never know. You don't win the lottery until you buy a ticket. Right?
That's right.
That's right.
And
so
Jonathan Eckert, U.S. Marine Sergeant. I got to tell you, we're so glad to have you aboard, especially since Cedric and I are both Navy. You know, all of my friends that are Marines give me a really hard time. And so welcome aboard, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, what was your part in the film? Were you one of the participants, one of the actors?
Actor. I suppose you could call it that. They asked me for an interview. I knew V personally. I was a canine handler in Kajaki, Afghanistan. And I just wanted to help out in any way I could. So they came out to Chicago, shot some stuff. And after seeing the film, I was very impressed.
So this film is about veterans. Is it all about all Marines? Is this a Marine squad?
Yeah, we were a Marine artillery battery in the Helmand Valley at the Kajaki Dam. And they put us in a pretty hairy spot for being a bunch of pogues. But we definitely lived up to our ethos of every Marine or rifleman, and it was an experience that a lot of us are never going to forget.
Yeah, you came under some pretty severe combat then, I take it.
Yeah, we've gotten into a lot of firefights. We had a lot of airstrikes, a lot of danger close. And being artillery, we actually got to support ourselves with artillery. So it was a lot different seeing the actual shells coming in as opposed to just firing them off.
Oh, boy. Okay, Melissa, you've seen this documentary. Cedric and I haven't. Tell me what you believe about the purpose and the mission from having seen it. What struck you enough that the Airpower Foundation is working with this film to get it out?
I think just the entire project is just a story that needs to be told, that Americans need to understand what our service members go through, and then what happens when they come back home. We know that mental health is, such a challenge for so many of our veterans, and we need to do more to spread that awareness, bring communities together to rally behind our veterans, and that's what Airpower wanted to do. As soon as we saw this film, we were on board. We're all in, whatever it takes. We want to help spread this message because everybody needs to see this movie.
It is. And what little I've seen of the trailers is amazing, talking about the brotherhood. And that is very, very true of our military, especially our Marine Corps. No man left behind. The background, Fernando, how did this film come about? Who picked this one Marine who was killed in Afghanistan? Tell us the story about how it came about.
Okay, sure, Jim. This was actually a pretty interesting story. The film focuses around Corporal J.V. Villarreal. And interestingly enough, while he was serving in Afghanistan, he's a natural ham. He just has this charisma, this charm about him. And he was videotaping himself and his experiences over there, taking pictures. Him and his Marine brothers would share the videos and everything. I want to say that I don't want to give too much away, but I guess in this kind of context, we're just going to give it all away here so we can entice people to go see the film. But unfortunately, Corporal Villarreal was killed in action. He stepped on an IED while he was serving in Afghanistan. Shortly after his death, his sister, his family had received all this footage, all these photographs and videos, and they wanted to do something with it. They wanted to do something more with all this, just this treasure trove of stuff that they had collected while they were serving overseas. And she approached one of our main producers, Laura Varela. We were actually showing another documentary that we had done for PBS at the time. This was in 2011. JV passed away in 2010. We were showing the other documentary, and it was about Vietnam veterans, actually. And show JV's sister, her name is April. She approached Laura and said, "Hey, I've got all this stuff here. I'd love to do something with this. Can y'all do something?" So it took a while for us to kind of wrap our heads around it and see what was there. Laura ended up teaming up with Andrew Gonzalez, who's the director and also a producer of the film. And once he was able to kind of like see the footage and the photographs and stuff, he kind of saw a way to put it all together.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was around 2019 when we started filming. So, as you can tell, it took a while for it all to gel. As you can imagine, for a documentary, you got to raise money before you can really do too much, and that's a whole nother story.
I even have questions in reference to all of the footage. Right? Did you have to get any approvals for what you had to show it in the way that you're doing it in the documentary? Was there any red tape? I guess is the question.
Well, the red tape was interesting because this was footage that was actually supplied by the different veterans and stuff like that that had served with JV.
Okay.
And so they were more personal, a personal type footage. Right. And because of the type of stuff that they were filming and that they had captured, we were careful not to show anything that would reveal any military secrets or anything like that. But we got permission from the folks that were part of this and got their permission. But essentially, we were able to take all of that footage, and then we wanted to use JV's personal narrated story as the thread that kind of took us on the film.
Gotcha.
And then we brought in some of the voices from the Marine Brothers, his Marine Brothers that are still with us today, and were able to get their perspective on what had happened on JV and on their own experiences post combat.
Jonathan, you knew JV. Tell us a little bit about JV. All we've heard is he liked to clown around a lot. He was kind of a ham. But tell us a little bit about JV. Who's the main character of this?
Well, V, yeah, he liked to clown around and he liked to antagonize the Taliban. That's for real. But he was also like an incredibly nice Marine. Like he had such a soul to him. I was actually attached to this unit. I didn't do the spin-up training with them. I wasn't with them back in California. I got attached to them after I got deployed to Afghanistan in a spot where they didn't really need a dog. So being the outsider, he was always one that would help me out and stuff, like before a patrol. And I've got a pretty good story about his heart of gold. I could tell you if you want to hear it.
Yeah, please.
All right. So before patrol, we're all hanging out, and he gets this box, and he's handing out these really cool bandanas. I've actually got it hanging on the wall right over there. And I go up to him. I'm like, "Hey, man, can I get one of those?" And he's like, dude, I just ran out. I just gave them all out, to his squad that he's very close to." And he just goes, "You know what?" He takes it off and he gives me his last one, and that's when I knew, dang, this guy is a good Marine, he loves his brothers. Even if you're not that close, we're all Marines. And yeah, he liked to joke around, but he was also, he had an amazing heart.
Was that the Psalm 91 bandana?
It's a old desert camouflage bandana, and it had these little capsules in it that when you sweat, it would absorb them and it would help dissipate the heat from your head.
Well, that's good too, because a Psalm 91 bandana kind of protect your head with scripture. That's for sure. That's a story. I mean, you didn't start and train with these guys, so you didn't quite have the same relationship with everybody else. But that's a great thing. And so he was a fun-loving, good guy. Where was he from?
Yes. He was from San Antonio, Texas.
The capital of Texas. Well, not quite, but
Some would say that. Sure.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Some would say that.
Yeah. That's where the heart of Texas is. There's no doubt about that. So you got it going. How long did it take you to produce this film?
It took about 6 years. So started in 2019. Our director, Andrew Gonzalez, he was director. He also ended up being the cinematographer for it. And it took us right into the COVID pandemic, right? So it was really interesting. Andrew having to fly around across the country, right? Because the Marine Brothers were located across the country. Right. As Jonathan himself said, he was in the Chicago area. We had some folks that were on the West Coast, some folks that were on the East Coast, down in the Florida area, and everywhere in between. And just traveling during that time, as you can imagine, was a little scary, very difficult.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of interesting. You see some footage of one of our other subjects, Angel Rios. He's on an airplane and there's nobody sitting around him. I mean, you never see that unless it's during COVID, right?
Well, is that part of that? Let's show that.
It is
Jordan,
on one of the clips.
Please show that first clip that we talked about, please.
Welcome to Afghanistan. We ain't California no more. I think I just swallowed a bug. All of our weapons, we're getting ready. This is where we're staying at. Branchito. We were studs and we all looked out for each other. We had like a actual love for each other. It's not just some dude, you go out to field ops and then go to war with kind of deal. It's like your brothers, like a wolf pack. some sort of. I figured it would be like a bunch of stray dogs, like, you know, that all got together, you know, rocked out.
Just want to give y'all a quick look of where we're living at, you know, show you the conditions that we got to live when we're in Afghanistan, what we put up with, and how little we get paid while we're out here. So here's a quick view. That Texas flag right there, you see that? That Texas flag in Afghanistan. And it is 120 degrees, by the way. Say west side, go like this. No, go west side. Cross, fingers. West side.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is just a small sample of the reality. This is not computer generated. This is not AI. That is real, Fernando.
It's very real.
Taken by the men who participated in that. And Jonathan, you were one of those men. How did you feel when you see that? I'm sure you've seen that 1,000 times.
It just feels like, just brings me back because I went over twice and I remember the whole process of landing in country, taking those buses off the planes, going to those hot tents while you wait for your actual duty station.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's going to be a whole lot of veterans across the world who are going to see this film and they're going to go, my God, I was there. My goodness gracious. Yeah. And Jonathan, you said that. This is an amazing film. We want you to be aware of it and know about it. It's going to be played on public television, and it's going to be on the 12th, 9 o'clock Eastern.
It's 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central.
Okay, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central, 8 Mountain, California, 7 o'clock. I got to tell you, this is going to be great. You can look us up. We're going to support it.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Jonathan, it's got to be a huge project to take bits and pieces of photographs and videos that somebody did who's not a professional, and that to weld them together is a story. That has to be really something. Who in your team did that? Because you were post-production.
Yes, the creative force behind American Sons are the producers, Laura Varela and Andrew Gonzalez. You know, it did take some massaging to put it all together. When we first started the process, there was a different vision in mind, I guess, you know. But it wasn't really until after we started talking with the Marine brothers and with the family, you know, with Jonathan, with Angel, with Billy, and some of the other veterans that served with JV. It wasn't really until we started speaking with them that these stories started to gel and the real meat behind the film came together.
So it took on a life of its own.
Yeah.
Sort of shapes.
It took on a life of its own.
Yeah.
We had a team that was initially there to help kind of put the edit together for us and stuff. The direction that they were going in, it just didn't feel right. Mm-hmm. But Andrew and Laura had this vision, and they kind of knew that they had to kind of bring it back And they ended up really taking over the process.
Wow.
And just finding ways to weave all these things together. And again, like I had mentioned before, that JV, his own personal narration, as we just saw the clip of, that's like one of the things where you see JV behind the camera, either relaxed or sometimes he's actually in his combat gear and stuff. We wanted to have JV be the main storyteller. There's a section of the film at the beginning where JV himself, somebody asked him, so you're behind the camera? He says, yes, I'm going to be the news reporter. I'm going to be the documentarian here. So even in 2010, JV knew that he was going to tell this story.
Wow.
So it's we're just really grateful that we were able to help make that dream come true, I guess. You know?
What an unusual thing. This must be one of the most unbelievable things for his family. It's carrying on his memory and legacy. And I got to tell you, that is wonderful. That is amazing. I want to go ahead. Let's show the next one, Jordan, which I think is really great. So if you would go ahead, Jordan, and play that next videotape that we've got that this young man did.
Man, how are you, brother?
I'm good now. I'm here with you, man. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I love you, man.
I love you too, man. You got me all excited and nervous.
I'll never forget that day. You know, the IED went off, and I was in front of the IED. And when the dust cleared and everything, I was trying to get accountability of who was there and who wasn't. I remember some of the dust clearing, and I see Rios climbing out of the crater of the IED attack, and I'm like, "Holy Rios!" I'm like, "You okay? You okay?" He's like, "I'm fine, Sergeant. I'm fine, Sergeant." But I knew he wasn't. He was out of it. You know, it was just that adrenaline that was pumping through him that kept him. Thank God he didn't die, you know? It's just a blessing to have him here and see him still alive. And he is an angel for and I love all my Marines for my squad, you know, and my squad got so up that they ended up disbanding my squad because I lost too many Marines because we were always getting hit.
What a story. Not told by a professional actor, not holding a piece of onion and a tissue cloth under his eyes so he'll cry, but a real man, a real person who has really gone through it and survived it.
Jim, when you look at the footage and you see the connectivity, right? Not just camaraderie, but literally brotherhood that's there. For a lot of civilians, some people never ever experience that level of connectivity with other people. Now, the sad thing here is that that part happened because of JV's passing, but yet still just the connectivity, the camaraderie, the brotherhood that these guys show, or people show from a military perspective, makes all the difference in the world. And for those who you always ask the question, Jim, what would you tell a person who's looking at going into the military? They don't understand that level of connectivity that happens because of the military. It's a different world. It really is. And this even brings them even closer.
It is a family.
Exactly.
It is the most unique family in the world. It is a family that stays together, and it is a family whose motto is no man left behind, or no woman in some cases. But this is important. And again, we want you to go to PBS on the 12th. So it's 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Texas Central, 8 o'clock Mountain, and 7 o'clock out on the Pacific. I got to tell you, this is a great documentary. I haven't even seen it all. And Melissa, you have seen it. It really got you, didn't it? That's why you call me.
Yeah. I mean, even just watching clips of it, it just brings it right back. And, you know, I get teary-eyed again because this is the sacrifice. This is the cost of freedom. You know, as a civilian, we don't always get to see that, or some of us never see what that price actually is. And, you know, we need to, again, bring the story to the forefront and let our community see how our freedom is because of these men and women who sign up to sacrifice everything for us.
That's why you're the executive director of Airpower Foundation, probably the biggest foundation in North Texas that supports military and veterans. So we thank you for that. We're going to be right back after this word from all of our sponsors. And I got to tell you, this is going to get better. So stay with us, share this, get it out there, tell your friends. This is your Veterans Impact Show. We'll be right back after these words.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Guys, everybody's real quiet all of a sudden. I got to tell you, this is an emotional, but there's nothing in it, Fernando, that children shouldn't see. Nothing bad in this documentary.
That's correct. I mean, it's primarily meant for a mature audience, but there's really nothing in it that a child cannot see. And as you can imagine, the documentary, the pre-PBS documentary, has a lot of expletives in it. The Marines are just kind of talking, they're saying their mind. But for the PBS broadcast, we did have to go in and clean things up.
Sort of raw.
I would say, yeah, you know, it's a little bit raw.
Right.
But
Well,
you know what? We were very careful not to put any kind of graphic war scenes or anything like that. You obviously see a lot of the combat footage that JV and the guys captured themselves. But we were very conscious about who was going to be watching this. We wanted to minimize anything that could cause people to react to it in a negative way.
Jonathan, you're a Marine. You know, all of my Marine buddies give me a hard time and say, hey, the Marine Corps is the men's department of the Navy. And I'll laugh with that. And I say, yeah, that's where you got your language. Because and Cedric and I were both board ship a lot. And you know, when you come home and your language is hyphenated, it takes you a while to get over that. Right, Cedric?
It does.
It does.
Yeah. Have to clean it up a bit, right? I knew a lot of guys that came out of boot camp, and their parents came to watch graduation, and you could see the looks on the parents' faces, right, when they heard some of the talking that was going on. But we learned, we figured it out.
Yeah, we can fit in. We can be polite in society. I mean, but I can relate only a smidgen because one of my pilots came back from being shot up in North Vietnam. Lieutenant Denny Earl. His left foot shot, bullet went through his left foot, right leg below the knee. He got that A4 back aboard the USS Oriskany. He got it back. And our flight surgeon happened to be flying with the guys that day on the mission. And Dr. Habib said, turn on your G-suit. G-suit brings pressure to your lower body to keep the blood in it. Denny landed that plane on an aircraft carrier. They rigged the barrier and he hit the 3-wire, didn't even need the barrier. He was in surgery for like 6 hours. And I mentioned this to say Denny Earl went to be with the Lord about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And Denny Earl was one of the finest men that I knew. And Denny Earl walked without a limp. Mm-hmm. The Navy doctors did an amazing job. But I know what it's like to see one of your comrades, one of your brothers, one of your people get hurt real bad. And I'll never forget Denny Earl coming back aboard. So this brought back some things with me, and I think it's significant that you guys have chosen Fernando to make this into something terrific. I mean, it was a contender. I mean, you didn't make it because you didn't have the big studios behind you, but you did such an incredible job. I can't wait to see it.
We waged a shadow campaign to get to fight the Oscars battle, you could say, on our shoestring budget and just going out there where we could get some attention for it. But we always approached it as our part of our impact and awareness campaign. Like that's something that we'll probably get to here in a bit, is that we do have an active impact and awareness campaign.
Well, tell us about that.
So we want to share the film, right? Part of making the documentary is that you want to get it out to its intended audience, right? And so one of the things that we wanted to do while we were on this Oscars campaign was making sure that every screening that we had was focused on the impact and awareness that this film could bring. Right. And so, but it was actually a very productive strategy, because even a lot of the Oscars voters themselves either had a family that was in the military, or they themselves were veterans. And so they would be impacted by the film. Right. They weren't just watching a run-of-the-mill documentary. Right. They were watching something that really resonated with them. And so the people that were able to see it were very moved by it, and helped, kind of launch it to the next step.
I have to admit, being a veteran, but not having been engaged in the level of action that even Jim talked about, I get a sense of more appreciation for those who were involved, who were engaged in action to that level, for those who went out and were on the front line and gave of themselves. I see the young man in the video who lost his arm, right? Which is minimal in reference to losing a life. But there has to be an appreciation. And then when civilians see that, or the families of veterans, other vets see that, it has to pull on the heartstrings and hopefully give an appreciation for what's done by the military who go out and sacrifice on a daily basis.
Most definitely. And that was one of our goals, was, part of the awareness is, as I told you all, I'm not a veteran myself, but I come from a military family.
You'd have made a good one.
I feel like I would have, but man, I don't compare to Jonathan and JV and Angel and Billy and all these other guys.
You could have been in the Air Force.
That were out there. There you go. I feel like that's not a compliment. That's okay. I'll take it anyway. But no, we wanted to share that experience, because for somebody like me who is not a veteran, to know what these guys went through. And to see, like, they were literally on the front lines. Like the clip that you just played has JV on a tank, and he's literally on the front line there, with the Taliban and everything like that. And, a lot of people that have seen the film have told us, now I understand what my dad was going through, or what my husband was going through, or whatever family member, and why they wouldn't talk to us. Like, they had all this in their head. And now we understand, like, my gosh, like, this is some heavy stuff that they were going through, right? One of our subjects, Corporal Billy Branch, who you also showed a clip of him earlier, he has said before, this is not a movie about war. This is a love story. The love story, like you mentioned, about the camaraderie between the men, the brotherhood that they experienced. And I think, Cedric, you said it best when you say that a lot of us don't get that close. Like, even with your own family, you're not that close.
Exactly.
You got something going on with your brother or with your sister or your parents or whatever. But, and Jonathan can speak about this better than I can. But we wanted to show that camaraderie and how important it was to reach out to your fellow veterans, to try to... Part of this thing, I know some of the subjects of the show today is hope, and healing, and that really is a basis for why we wanted to do this. Was so that not only the veterans themselves had that avenue to help hope and healing, but it shows people like us that are outside of that military environment what they went through and what we can do to help.
Right.
To help with that situation.
Don't you think, Fernando and Melissa, this really helps the families? This really, really helps the families. And in some cases, it's going to scare families half to death. A relatively small percentage are actually in that situation, Jonathan, that you were in. By comparison, I was on aircraft carriers in Vietnam, made 3 combat tours. I have over 24 months of combat duty. Basically, though, I was never in a situation that I knew of like what Jonathan was in or what JV was in, or many of my friends, some of which I have Navy SEALs, Marine Corps, Force Recon Marine. You know what that means, don't you, Jonathan? When you say a Force Recon Marine, if you think of a Green Beret, then give him a crown and call him a Force Recon Marine. True? Wouldn't you say that, Jonathan?
Yep. Now we got MARSOC too.
Yep. And so this is the thing that people get to see. And is it something to be afraid of? No, not in my opinion, but it's the greatest adventure of your life. And let me tell you something. We've got the screens closed behind us, but you'd see LBJ Freeway in Dallas behind us. And let me tell you, our studio's overlooked that. You're more dangerous on LBJ Freeway than you were what those guys did. Seriously, because I've seen the accidents. We passed one this morning coming here that was terrible. So this is a chance to look into the real hearts and minds of those who are serving right in the front lines. They're facing the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Melissa, I want to just pull you into this conversation just a little bit in reference to Airpower Foundation. And you said a moment ago, you know, just seeing it again. I know you've seen it a lot. I know, Jonathan, both of you guys have probably seen it several times. But if you were to be able to speak to the masses, what would you tell them about the reason, the necessity, the desire to see this documentary? What would you say?
I think for me personally, it was to have a better understanding of what our military go through and then what happens when they come back home. I think is almost just as big of a story for me because just, you know, as I've been with Airpower for over a year now and hearing stories of that transition and some of the challenges that our military have becoming veterans. It's something that really touches my heart, and I wanted to learn more about that and what can we do as a foundation, as a community to help with that transition, to provide the resources and funds and programs and things that veterans need to assimilate back into civilian life. And we're just so thankful to be part of this project. So thankful that American Sons is allowing us to stand with them and walk through them with this opening. And we're excited about the great things that are going to happen through this project. I mean, this is a legacy of change that can happen in our country.
One of the things I'd like to make a point, pardon me, because I've got the same allergies you do, Melissa. Veterans have traditionally in this country led the way. We do have a suicide epidemic in this nation. Cedric, you were telling me about an 8-year-old child. All of these things are going on. We go through in the military, but with a level of intensity that most people don't understand.
Don't have a clue.
We can lead the nation with organizations like Airpower that are finding solutions. We need to be a nation that is finding solutions, not conflict. We need to be a nation that is working together, not trying to beat each other up. That was a political statement, but I'm telling you, it's important that we, as veterans, help lead this nation to be working together. And you got to see it, Melissa. It's changed you. I can almost tell by talking to you this time, after all of the other interviews, times we've come together, you've changed a little bit. You've changed something. And I think that's good. And Fernando, you've got to have changed as a result of this. I want to go ahead now and play the third segment. Can we do that, Jordan, please?
Come on, man. You know the anchor goes in.
They got you on all these pictures with your anchors facing the wrong way.
Yeah.
Oh, that was your tubers.
Yeah, this one too, huh?
Yeah, well, they're all the same from the same.
Oh,
event.
from the same time?
Yeah, they're all the same event. Maybe look like me.
2 years ago, we started coming every year, and I wish we would have done it sooner. It helps us to open up to each other, talk. A lot of us were kind of doing our own thing, avoiding people just because we didn't know how to deal with it.
We couldn't continue to do what we do and be as functional as we are without everybody's support and everybody's continued love and reaching out. And we know that our pain is not just ours, it's everybody.
Sorry.
I love you all. And I love you guys, man.
Since that day, it's just like, every time I try to open that box of emotions, it's like I get paralyzed, and it just drives me into deflection, dude. I can't.
Did that touch your heart?
How can it not?
How can it not? Cedric, how can it not? Cedric, I bet you could use this documentary in some of your marriage counseling.
Oh, most definitely. When we do the veterans retreats, just the level of appreciation for the sacrifice that has been made, the appreciation for the time that was given, the lives that were lost, and the sacrifices. So, yes, is the answer.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I know this film will probably be shown at Johnny and Friends on your next summer, your military veterans retreat. I bet it's going to be shown on a lot of places around this nation. We want to thank you, and we'll be right back with you after these words from all of our partners. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for what you've done, Melissa, to bring this to our attention. And thank you, Fernando and Jonathan and all of the brothers that are Marines that put this together so that we as Americans can see the brotherhood. No man left behind. Nobody left behind.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Well, after that, I need to take a small break and say thank you very much to our sponsors. Fairway Independent Mortgage, my mortgage company. My NMLS number is 311-548. We are the largest non-bank mortgage company in the nation, an equal opportunity lender. We do a lot to serve veterans, seniors, first-time homebuyers, military, fire, first responders. We're there for you. And then also Symbiosis Integrative Health. We work in saving lives with mental health, physical pain relief, phantom limb pain. We do a lot, and I love volunteering and helping people out. And I want to say a special thank you, without a doubt, to Melissa and Wanda Cox and all of the people in Fort Worth, the Airpower Foundation, who do so much to raise money, raise awareness, and put on events that are absolutely fantastic, that bring everybody together. And this is one of our big things that we tell people time and time again. Get active. Be a part of it. Be a part of something bigger than you are. And Fernando, thank you. And thank you, Jonathan, for being bigger and part of something far bigger than you are. You may not have gotten the Academy Award this one, but you may get an Academy Award or a challenge coin from a lot of veterans before this is all over with. So this has been a really, really, really good opportunity. Cedric, how would you rate this?
Oh, this top notch, one of the best shows. And I'm not a sentimental guy, but the videos can't help but, put a bit of a lump in your throat. Can't help but to raise a level of sensitivity in any individual who has an appreciation for, again, I just have to say it, the sacrifice that's made, whether they go for a month, people who dedicate their lives to the military. This is a documentary that I think will go a long way, and we appreciate you for it.
This is something that everybody needs to see and know about. And Jonathan, you still work with dogs. You still work in training. How do you feel about this documentary?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't really want to watch it, because I lived it. I was willing to do anything I could to make sure that it was made and I could assist in any way I can. But actually, after watching it, I was very impressed. There's a lot of movies and stuff out there, and it's mostly like a pity film, like, feel bad for us because we're veterans. And this is not that. This is something beautiful. Like Billy said, it's a love story. It's really about heart, soul, and love. And there's some combat in it, but it's not about fighting. It's about surviving. And I got to say, they did an amazing job. I couldn't even put it into a genre. It's just beautiful. So, yeah, I think it's going to really connect with a lot of military out there. And, we had our JV. And the thing is, anybody who's been in combat, any unit, they all have a V. They all have a JV that they think about every day and that they miss and they love. And it's going to connect to a lot of veterans' hearts.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to bring about a lot of healing, because you're going to see that camaraderie coming together. It's going to motivate somebody to go get in a VSO, a Veteran Service Organization, a Veterans of Foreign Wars, an American Legion, a DAV. And that's what we want to carry this message forward. Get involved. Be a part of something bigger. Go look up airpowerfoundation.org, correct, Melissa?
Yes.
You can donate. If you want to know, if you're a civilian and you go, oh my God, this is beautiful, I want to do something to help. Let me tell you something. You send donation to Airpower Foundation. They do more work to help veterans than just about anybody in the nation. There are many that are very, very good, but Airpower Foundation in Fort Worth is nationwide, and they do a lot of help. Correct?
Yes, thank you.
And Fernando, thank you for coming in. Thank you for being on board. I mean, definitely. Wow. What are you going to do next?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you, Jim, to you and Cedric and everybody here at the Veterans Impact Show, and to Melissa for giving us this opportunity. We're going to continue taking the film on the road. Just this month, we're going to be January 22nd. We're going to be at the Marines Memorial Theater in San Francisco. Then at the end of the month, we're going to be in Houston. Later on this year, we're planning to be back in Los Angeles, and we're speaking with some folks at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
To be there hopefully towards the end of the year. But we really couldn't have done this without the support and the help from JV's family, the Villarreal family, and from all of JV's Marine brothers. So Jonathan, thank you again, man, for being part of this. And just our hearts go out to you guys for the sacrifice that you paid, for keeping our country free. I don't think people appreciate that enough.
Right.
And hopefully this film will get them to see that,
Melissa, thank you for letting us be a part. Pastor Cedric?
Yes, sir.
You, my brother, take us out with a prayer because we need it.
We can do that. So, Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for people like Sergeant Jonathan Eckert, people like Melissa Dabi with the Airpower Foundation, people like Fernando Carno for with the American Sons film that is getting the word out. Thank you for people like JV, who paid the ultimate sacrifice that we may live freely, we may have the freedoms that no other country has. So we thank you, Father, and we ask that you would be with us in all things. Bless this documentary. Let it reach every heart that it needs to, and let it get the support that it needs. And bless this nation. Let this country be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you for being part of Veterans Impact Show. Share this program. Tell your friends. Look at PBS. On the East Coast, it's going to be at 10 o'clock on the 12th. And then right across the nation. So you know the time zones. You know where you are. Take a look. PBS, Public Broadcasting, bringing one of the best that I have ever even heard to our nation. Have a great day. Thank you for being on board.